Hi, you guys. Welcome back. My name is Carrie Penny. I am the Happy Crafty Homemaker, and welcome to my quarter 1 goals check-in here. So I've got, grab my stuff here. I have my 2026 journal that I covered at the end of 2025. I also have my little mini matching journal out of the scraps. So I have my check-in notes here. I have my goals printout here. Let's crack on. So I have 26 listed goals. Before we get started, actually, please remember when I set goals for myself, these are things I want to remember I wanted to do. Best case scenario type things. This isn't, must do, have to do, pressure to do. This is just kind of fun for me. And I love checking off things. I love a good checklist. It makes me feel so accomplished when I can actually mark things off. And we do have 2 goals already marked off here in quarter 1. So just remember that this is for funsies. This isn't, life or death, high stress, high stakes. This is just funsies. That's all. And I would love to hear about where you are on your goals in the comment section down below. So, as you're listening to me run through these and talk about projects and everything else, feel free to type in the comment section down below where you are with your process this year. But let's jump in. So for goal number 1, of course, 100 pounds of FOs. And I am woefully behind. Part of this is I've initiated a lot of long-term projects. Part of this is I haven't had time to, there's some really quick, will take me a week projects that I need to just kind of knock out, like the matching hats for the granny square scarves I did last year. That'll just be a huge, knock it out, done. And, I need to pull out the Addy and crank out the hats real fast. Like it literally will take me, maybe 3 afternoons to crank and then, 2 afternoons to sew everything shut. So I haven't done it. I meant to do it last week and I started a sweater, and we'll talk about that when we talk about the make along here later this week. But yeah, it just, so 100 pounds was the goal. I have 2,445 grams in yarn FOs, 1,074 in non-yarn FOs. So that brings us to 7.76 pounds. Now that is kind of a partial guesstimate, and it's my fault because I set up how I was doing my flatbed projects in a way that is not going to benefit me. So I'm not going to do that for next quarter, but I do have some finishing work, but they're kind of tied into the March projects. So I can't quite mark them off yet. I am filming this a couple of days in advance, so some of these may be finished before then, but I'm guesstimating the cape, its final weight is going to end up being 450 grams is what I said. It'll probably be closer to 550, but I wanted to be, kind on myself based on what I'm writing down here. So, things like that, I need to put those as separate projects, especially when they're larger projects. It's not like the Addy where I was able to, crank through all those hats and scarves in a month and get everything, I'd crank all week and put things together on Sunday. I can't really do that with the flatbed. So, because I'm learning too much as I go. So I can't do what I did, like when I did the month of using as much yarn as I could. So it is slowing me down. And I did put these in the journal in a bad way, but that'll be fixed next quarter. No problem. The next one is spinning 3 pounds of fiber. I haven't had time to spin anything. I have not done any of my donations, but I do want to donate 25 hat and scarf sets, donate 5 blankets, have 5 shawls ready to donate. Now I do have 2 ready to donate. So I haven't done any donation drop-offs. I won't do that till the fall. So I have plenty of time to get those things ready, but I need to be getting those things ready. I do have 2 blankets I'm going to piece together as part of my April make-along color, because they're scrap projects. So that, tons of color. Once again, I am begging you guys, bring your color. I want to see the color for the month of April. Number 6, some progress in each month for the make-alongs. I am doing really good for my mouths. I am very pleased with myself. So for the quarterly make along, I did one shawl, started and finished. That was in bulky weight yarn. In January, I completed 3 UFOs. In February, I used 3 good yarns. And in March, I started 2 sweaters and worked on 2 sweaters. So they didn't get done, but I did get started on 2 of them. So I'm very pleased with that. I have some really exciting things I'm wanting to work on in the month of April in particular, but quarter 2's make along is size 3 yarn. And I do have 2 UFOs that I'm going to be pulling out. One I should have finished, one I won't finish before the end of the month, but I'm very excited. Number 7, low buy, starting budget of $150. So because I did not do the right thing for doing because I can't really pull together my grams of yarn usage. I wasn't quite able to update this, but spent so far, I've only spent $12.57 on yarn. That was 3 skeins from Hobby Lobby that I will be making one specific project on the flatbed machine. So that'll be used and through my stash in the month of April. That is all I've spent. So I did have a negative $12.57 for that. I started the month of March with $140.99 in my budget. March is going to give me 4, 5, 8, probably around $10. So I'll be back to the even point. So I'll have $150 to stash. April, I think, based on how it's lining up, I think April is going to be a big usage month. As long as nothing catastrophic happens, I have some things like putting together the blankets, and that's going to give me 2 huge jumps. So maybe I could pull out like the hexagon blanket and work on that again or something, and that'll give me another huge hunk. Finishing the flatbed sweater will give me a huge hunk. That's like another 450-ish grams. So, I have projects on deck that are in process, some that are, 50% or more complete, that April, I think we're going to see, like maybe closer to $20 added to the budget. If you don't know, for a low buy, what I do is for every 100 grams of yarn used, I add $1 to my budget. Every dollar I spend is out of my budget. So I can build the budget, but I have to use stash in order to do it. Next up, 75% of project UFO done. So I am at 14% finished. Like I said, I have 2 projects I'll probably pull out. I'm slowly working on the pickle jar scarf. I put like a skein in every week, so it's just not that exciting to bring up and share with you guys. So I could potentially have 3 more UFOs, another 14% done in the next month. So that would take us up to 28%, which I would see that as a huge success at this point. So 12 pairs of socks. So far, I have completed 4 pair. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 WIPs right now. I'm in the process of casting on Troy's Buddy socks to match my Christmas socks. I cast on my hamburger ankle socks. I have my universal stanza socks that I cast on at the beginning of the year. I'm working on those, and the salt and pepper socks I'm working on. I also have 4 pairs of socks for my dad that I'm getting ready to cast on. So I think getting a dozen socks this year will do perfectly fine. Number 10, 5 sweaters. So I have started 2 new sweaters this year, the Captiva Crop, as well as a flatbed knitting machine sweater. And that's going to be like part flatbed. The stockinette's all going to be flatbed, but all of the ribbing on the cuffs, the hem, the collar, all of that's going to be hand knit. I also will have to sew it together. But like I said, we'll talk more about that coming soon. Between the next show and tell will be next week. That'll be 296, I believe. And we'll talk more then about that sweater, but we'll also talk about it as part of March's finale. So I am excited. 2 squares from Project Granny Deck, at least 96 finished squares. So I hit a scrap problem. All of my squares were starting to look identical and I wasn't going to be able to mix them up. So I have now made some more scrap. I can add in. I need to jumpstart that again, but I think we did 8 weeks and we're on week 14. So like I'm getting pretty behind. Empty 3 cubes on the wall. Nothing's empty here. Haven't made any progress on that. 0 yarn on the floor or in carts. I need those carts for other things. My carts are still full. That's joining yarn for blankets to donate. I have the hat and scarf yarn, which is the leftovers from Project Christmas Blanket. That is in a basket still. The joining yarn for my grandmother's flower garden is still in the floor, and the bag. I have 2 bags of random Knit Picks yarns in bags over here. And then I've got a bag of Caron cakes that I was going to review that I ran out of time to review last year. So I still have stuff on the floor. I still have stuff in the carts. We've made some progress, just we're not there yet. But if I can get 3 empty spots on my shelf. Number 14, 200 cards. I have not made any cards this year so far. 15, make 5 journals. I did now cover 5 journals. So, the first journal, the first journal I finished is actually this little mini guy that matches my big planner. I also did one for to track my workouts, which because of my tennis elbow and my torn rotator cuff, I can't lift, so I'm not using it. But there's one for tracking my workouts. Then I gifted the other full-size journal, as well as the 2 minis that I made using Freebird from Photoplay. I gifted those as part of prizes for the Make Along for 2025. So I did cover 5 journals. I'm hoping to get in the next 2-3 weeks, I'm hoping to get another couple done. I have not used any 12x12 or 6x6 paper pads. However, that's 3 I finished. I did complete 2 paper packs. One is Freebird, and I used that to cover the journals that I donated and the workout one. And this other one is Echo Park Record 2 by Lori Whitlock. And I completed that covering these 2 journals. So when I did the ones that I gifted and the one for my workout, those don't have tabs and separators and all that stuff. In order to do my crafting journal, I have things like this, that takes up 2 pieces of paper. My tab separators for the different sections in my notebook take up 2 pieces of paper. I use it to make my lifting points and stuff. So I did go through a lot more in making this one than I did the other ones. Those are just basic covered ones like I do my Bible study journal. But yeah, so I got 2 out of 1 and then 3 out of the other. So I'm very excited, 4 out of the other, 3 minis and 1 full size. I'm very excited that let's pull the highlighter and we're going to mark that done now, because that is 3 out of 26 completed in Q1. The next one is using 10 rolls of washi tape, followed by using liquid dots, liquid enamel dots, Stickles, Nuvo drops, the scrapbook.com dots. I have not done that because I haven't made any cards. I haven't used those. I'm a little hesitant to use those on notebooks because adding dimension on the cover of a notebook, you tend to scrape these across surfaces and stuff, or they go in and out of bags. I don't want to risk tearing up the front of a notebook that I bothered covering. So that's really for card making. And since I haven't made cards, I haven't touched any of my liquid enamel dot things. Break into 20 sock hanks. This one I was surprised by. I have 12 in FOs. I only have 12 FOs, but because of the socks you know, I'm using contrasting colors for a lot of those. I did end up, I used 50 grams of the brown for Troy socks, and then the leftovers from that I'm using in my hamburger socks. So even there, like I'm doubling up on usage here. Yeah. So the other part of that is I have 18 new sock skeins that I've broken into in WIPs. So that's kind of a huge, I was very surprised. And once again, like I said, I have 4 active socks already started, and those are counted here. And I've got 4 more pair to start, and that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe another 7 skeins I will be working into just with my dad's socks. So I'm very excited about that. That's a huge one for me. Next, 20 yarn cakes. Now, I did not see any yarn cakes except for my sweater. And since that's not done, I can't really count those. So it's kind of like 4-ish. If I count what's in the grandmother's flower garden, that's kind of another 5-ish. But none of those are used yet. Those are still in the WIP stage. So we do have 9-ish out of 20 that are in WIPs. Number 23, use 5 bulky skeins. I used 5 bulky skeins as part of my make-along. So I made the Comfort Cloak by Lisa Jacobs, and that did use all 5 skeins of my Peyton's Misty. So I did do that. I wish I'd used more, but thankfully my goal was only 5 this year, even with that as a make-along goal. 24, finish the Snowman Table Runner. I haven't pulled out any of the needlepoint, and A to that is finishing the printed cross stitch from 2024. I didn't pull that out either. 25, I want to do a color work knitting project. I haven't started one yet. I do have one in mind, but I just haven't had the brain space to do color work. And number 26, I hand wrote in after I'd shared my goals, and that was to focus on using my Southern Comfort Fiber Market yarns, Yarnable yarns, Charlotte Yarn Crawl yarns. They're all in one shelf-ish here. I do have a couple brands that have their own spots on the big yarn wall, but I do want to spend some time with those. I bought those for a reason. I do have 3 skeins of the Beach Bunny yarn hanged up downstairs because I want to do the Captivity in that. If for some reason my prototype Captiva does not work out and I don't like it for some reason, I do have another on deck idea for that yarn. So for Project UFO, I'm not going to do a quarter update for that just because we'll talk about it here, but I do have 3 of the projects done that are anticipated or wanted to be done this year. 3 of the it's going to take more than 1 year projects down here. Depending on how many sock and sport and DK weights I work into for this quarter, I could have one of those done this year, but it's not a must do. So when I calculated 14% done, that was counting all of the projects, including those last 3. So if you look at what I really wanted to get done and thought I would get done this year potentially, or the pool I could get done from this year, by the end of April, I could actually be at like 32% done, not 28% done. I'm very excited. For the projects that I wanted to make, of the 11 I have written down, I have only started and finished 1 of those. Now, as we continue on to the summer, after I finish my dad's socks, I want to send him 4 pair. Once I'm done with those as my walking projects and kind of like main focus projects, I will be moving to doing some cotton projects later this year or this summer. I also want to do hats and scarves for my brother and his family. Actually, the socks for my dad are part of this list as well. I want to make my husband a sweater at some point this year. I'm thinking on the flatbed. The Captiva crop with Beach Bunny yarn. So I did not start it with Beach Bunny. I started it with a different yarn. So we still have to do the Beach Bunny one. Harry Potter scrap scarf I'm using. There is a designer that's done an advent every year for socks. I'm going to take those patterns for the socks, double it, work a scarf in the round using my scrap sock yarn. So that's on deck. That's already planned. Halloween socks for the May make-along. We're not to May yet, so I wouldn't have started that. At least one kit from the closet. June make-along. We're not there yet. Matching socks for Troy and me. I am in the process of casting on Troy's socks now. I have finished 1 shawl, 0 hats and scarf sets, 0 hats. I have more than, no, I've done 2 shawls. I finished 2 shawls, at least 3. Because, okay, well, apparently I just did not check off this. So I need to go back to my finished items tally. Yeah, no donations and supplies used. I don't have any of those. I don't have any of those. I do have 5 bulky weight yarns. We'll worry about marking that later. And we already went over fingering weight. So that is where I am on my goals so far. I'm actually pretty excited. It's been a weird start to the year. I expected to have more finished objects by now, to be honest. And I have a bunch of like almost done things surrounding my spot on the sofa. So I really need to get that stuff cleared up and off the coffee table and the love seat, because I'd really kind of like to make my living room look a little bit more like somebody else lives in my house except for just me. So anyway, I love you guys. I can't wait to hear and see what you guys have been working on, where you are on your goals. Please feel free to share also, in the Facebook group or in the Ravelry group, anytime you want to share your makes, your progress, anything that excites you, that you're happy about. Always feel free to share. But I love you. I look forward to seeing you guys real soon. Bye, guys.